Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Stella Sage. Today, we're diving deep into the future of the profound relevance of these cosmic energies that are surrounding the new moon in Aquarius. Today's exploration of this lunation will be like none other, not just because the astrology is the first of its kind to happen since 248 years ago, but also because I'll be calling attention to a powerful synchronicity that I noticed but haven't heard anyone else mention it yet. I suppose that's because it's my job as a manifestor in human design, holding a carnation cross and various channels that highlight to this exact type of responsibility. With that said, please hold a moment while I put on my big girl panties and step into this role that the universe initiated me into. Now, I want to preface this video by saying I'm an intuitive energy worker that studies various divination tools and occult symbolism to explore the deeper meanings in life. As someone with a natal Uranus opposition to a 9th house Jupiter in Cancer, I explore truths through a boundless approach to traditional understandings, letting my intuition guide me. So basically, if someone tells me, oh, it doesn't work that way, or that's not how you're supposed to do it, my immediate inclination is to say, why not? What happens if I do? Let me just try so I can see for myself. So here we are today. I'm totally expecting someone to say, oh, moon cycles don't work like that. But I have reason to believe the energies of this new moon are setting the stage for the grand shift into the Age of Aquarius. And the cosmic patterns we're experiencing now are like a prelude to the main event, which is a solar eclipse happening in February of 2027. See, right now, each of us individually are being implanted with a mutative energy that will undergo a gradual increase of transformation in our bodies. And by 2027, it's going to be reflected back in the external world in a pretty profound way. I myself have not fully processed the gravity of this information. However, I'm feeling called to share it as merely to bring awareness to this greater shift that is underway, and how these current energies are playing into the big picture. A mutation that is occurring within our solar system, our collective energy, and our individual biology. I'm going to explain to you how I've personally made this connection, but today I'll be more so calling attention to the larger topics and keywords that can steer you in the right direction if you so choose to explore more on your own. Or just subscribe to my channel and I will cover these topics in depth once I've had more time to wrap my head around it and I feel guided to share. Now let me tell you what illuminated this hypothesis to me. I've been feeling called to share more about my personal experience with my Pluto transits, and through that process of gathering data, I noticed that there will be an eclipse taking place on February 6th of 2027 in the sign Aquarius. This eclipse got my attention because it will be conjunct the same degree as my North Node, which will also be the last placement in my natal chart, besides my ascendant-descendant axis, that Pluto will make aspect to with either an exact conjunction or opposition to. And if you're familiar with Pluto, then you know how rare and extreme that is. If you're curious to understand more about Pluto, then watch my Pluto and Aquarius video, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. Now, this highlighted the connection to the energies of this new moon because during that eclipse, the transiting North Node will be at 20 degrees Aquarius, the same degree as this new moon. Now, there is so much to be said about the importance of that eclipse, obviously for me on a personal level, but also how this is happening just weeks prior to the complete culmination of a 400-year energetic cycle, according to the human design theory, as well as the year that supposedly the first Rave child will be born on Earth, an extraordinarily different human species born of humans. This was a theory I came across when I first began studying my own human design. But as you may know, just like with astrology, human design has so many layers to learn. I have only really peeked into the depths of my personal chart, so as of right now, I cannot speak more about this Rave theory. But since I first came across the topic, it's held a strong presence in my mind. Super curious to further explore once I have more time. But since I knew of this connection to the year 2027, all the alarm bells started ringing in my head when I saw the date of this eclipse. So those of you that have never heard of human design before, it's a system that combines elements of astrology, the I Ching, Kabbalah, and the chakra system to create a comprehensive map of an individual's energetic makeup and life path. It was developed by Ra Uru Hu in 1987, who received the information during a mystical experience. The way it personally resonates for me is like astrology being the blueprint of my life's purpose, and human design is my owner's manual. Okay, so to me, there are three overarching themes here: the Aquarian age, the new global carnation cross, aka how we operate at the collective level, and 3, mass awakening and mutation of the human species. Now, what seems to be the key factor that ties it all together is mass transformation, aka Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is connected to the soul. It is a very spiritual planet and is known for its profound transformational qualities. Uranus is the modern planetary ruler of Aquarius and was discovered by William Herschel in 1781, which happened to be the last time Pluto was transiting the sign of Aquarius. There's a deeper significance to the discovery of Uranus in terms of the evolution of our species, going from 7-centered beings to 9-centered beings. That evolutionary process is continuing to develop into this new age, specifically with our emotional processing system and our solar plexus. We are currently living through a time of unprecedented global mutation. In 2027, this mutation will take full effect, and our solar plexus center will become responsible for a new way we feel and process emotions. This process has been underway for some time now, but is increasingly becoming more and more obvious. I've been toying with the idea in my mind how I personally believe spiritual energy is connected to the rise of ADHD and autism. Again, I need more time to research and ponder on that, but the more and more I seem to dig, the more validation I get that I'm onto something. The specific date when the mutation will occur is February 28th, 2027. But it's most likely going to be building all the way up until that day. Can you feel this tension that seems to be building on the planet? The friction between the old paradigm and the new wave? A new generation standing up and wanting something different? If so, then take it as your sign that you're on the right path. No, you are not crazy. Trust yourself. It is the utmost critical thing for you to rely on at this time. Learn to feel what's right for you and let yourself experiment so that you can grow this muscle gradually, because when the nervous system is triggered into fear, it's near impossible to access your internal guidance system. So keep that fact in mind as you witness the greater catastrophes playing out on the large scale, because I promise you, it's not a coincidence why more and more darkness is being projected out into the world. The end lesson for all three of those overarching themes is self-sovereignty. For the past 400 years, we have been living in the cross of planning, tribal energy, where social connection, being helpful in society, and bargaining via bringing value to other humans is what ensured our survival. In 2027, our global cycle will be shifting into the energy of the cross of the sleeping phoenix. We are moving into an individual energy where each person must rely on spirit and their own inner guidance. The more awakened you are, connected with spirit, and living authentically, by remembering the purpose for why your higher self designed this human experience as so, and decondition yourself from arbitrary standards that don't take this into consideration, then the more you will thrive in this new age. Now let's get astrologically aligned. The new moon in Aquarius is a cosmic invitation to embrace change and innovation. This lunar event forms a dynamic square with the sign's ruler Uranus in Taurus at 19 degrees, intensifying the energy of transformation and revolution. This cosmic tango challenges the status quo, urging us to break free from limitations and embrace the unexpected. Now, here's where it gets even more fascinating. The energies playing out over this lunation cycle are highly relevant to purify and activate our light bodies through mental, physical, and emotional mutations, all of which Pluto will be initiating into us on an individual level, as the series of each personal planet proceeds to enter Aquarius. The sun began the process by shining light on what shifts we can expect to see over the next 20 years, as well as why this transformational energy is both necessary and helpful for us at the collective level. Yesterday, February 5th, Mercury followed suit, as Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect, joined forces with Pluto, the cosmic detective, at the dawn of Aquarius. We could have felt some level of intensity in our thought processes. I personally felt this transit strongly, witnessing myself experience extreme overwhelm, intrusive and self-sabotaging thoughts, as well as obsessive overthinking. It was unpleasant, to say the least. However, I also became aware of the unconscious limiting beliefs that I thought I had overcome already, but apparently not. So it positively resulted in empowering myself to deeper process and consciously rewrite these patterns so that I can release what's holding me back from reaching my true potential. But hence, being completely rogue on this week's upload schedule. So get this, when I planned the weekly themes, I called this week Self-Care for Humanity. So forgive me as I take my own advice. I will only be posting this video and a video about my personal life this week. I won't be doing a yoga class or a meditation or Reiki. Okay, I'm done with that side tangent. Now let's get back to it. Mercury and Pluto working together are probing into the depths of our consciousness, as if the universe is encouraging us to dive into the profound realms of our minds and unearth hidden truths. The new moon may mark the beginning of a kind of revolutionary mindset where we form new ways of thinking and processing information. This alignment empowers us to communicate with authenticity and to transform our thought patterns. It's a cosmic nudge to explore the higher mind through a logical understanding of emotional depths. Now let's shift our focus to the healing energies at play. This alignment carries a unique signature related to the nervous system. The energies of Uranus and Mercury are both related to intelligence and draw associations to our nervous system and the electrical impulses that process and communicate information on both the universal and physiological levels. Pluto encourages us to explore alternate healing modalities that activate and soothe the nervous system in new and profound ways. Meditation, breathwork, and holistic practices become potent tools during this time, aiding us in navigating the waves of change with grace and resilience. Let's also talk about how all of this relates to the active transits that we have been and will continue to be having to both Chiron, the wounded healer, and the North Node, the karmic point of destiny, both in Aries. All of which symbolizing the collective's evolutionary journey towards healing the unbalanced and negative expression of self-directed energy. Both yesterday and today, the 5th and 6th of February, both Venus and the Sun are making aspects to these points. When Venus in Capricorn forms a square aspect with Chiron in Aries, it can bring about tension and challenges regarding love, relationships, and self-worth. Venus represents love, beauty, and values, while Chiron symbolizes our deepest wounds and insecurities. This aspect could manifest as struggles with self-esteem, fear of rejection, or difficulty in expressing emotions openly. There may be a tendency to feel inadequate or unworthy in relationships, leading to issues with trust and intimacy. Then, with the square to the North Node, there is a focus on stability, security, and long-term commitments in matters of the heart. Capricorn energy values tradition, responsibility, and practicality, often seeking tangible outcomes and material security. On the other hand, the North Node in Aries represents the soul's evolutionary journey towards independence, self-discovery, and assertiveness. Aries energy is bold, courageous, and action-oriented, urging individuals to embrace their individuality and take initiative in pursuing their desires and goals. Again, personally, I definitely felt this strongly too. I've had a video in mind I wanted to share the same week of the Leo full moon. It's a tour of my home and life and relating it through the perspective of my birth chart. I'm amazed at how astrology and human design have so accurately described my life and who I am on a level that I never had the proper means to really express prior. I think sharing my process of my spiritual awakening can shine light in a way that could be really healing for others. But when I got around to working on the video, I've been noticing myself struggling to create it out of fear that I will come across as narcissistic, as well as my fear to so boldly claim what I know my destiny to be. Let me know in the comments if anyone else has felt these transits playing out. But the sun is also forming a sextile aspect to these points, which suggests a harmonious alignment between individual expression, creativity, and the soul's evolutionary path. To that, I say, thank you, universe. I needed that. It's true. This aspect is urging individuals to assert their autonomy and pursue their desires and goals with confidence. There's a supportive flow of energy that facilitates growth and progress along the soul's evolutionary path. This transit encourages individuals to align their creative expression and individuality, Sun in Aquarius, with their authentic desires and life's purpose, North Node in Aries. It offers opportunities for individuals to explore new ideas, express themselves boldly, and embrace their unique qualities and talents. The harmonious aspect between the Sun and the North Node fosters a sense of empowerment, confidence, and enthusiasm for pursuing one's true path. Writing the script for this video reminded me that I need to embrace Aries energy more, allowing its dynamic, courageous, and action-oriented nature to guide me. When the Sun in Aquarius sextiles Chiron in Aries, there is a supportive flow of energy that facilitates healing and growth in these areas. It offers opportunities for self-awareness, acceptance, and empowerment. Individuals may feel more confident in expressing their true selves and embracing their individuality without fear of judgment or rejection. This transit can also provide insights into how past experiences may have shaped one's sense of self and identity, allowing for healing and integration of these wounds. It invites them to embrace their vulnerabilities and to use them as sources of strength and resilience. Then on Wednesday, the 7th, the same duo will be making aspect to Uranus and Taurus, helping us to further liberate ourselves by embracing change, Uranus, while standing firm on the grounding energy that we created through self-worth and self-reliance, Taurus. Also Wednesday, Mars in Capricorn will be forming a sextile with Neptune in Pisces at 25 degrees, which perfectly helps execute that lesson I mentioned earlier that seems to keep repeating itself through different forms of the same energetic means. This transit creates a harmonious connection between assertive, action-oriented energy and spiritual, imaginative energy. Mars in Capricorn represents ambitious, goal-oriented, disciplined, and strategic action, seeking tangible results and long-term stability. Neptune's influence can bring about a sense of idealism, creativity, and a desire for transcendence beyond the material world. Mars sextile Neptune encourages individuals to pursue their goals with a sense of creativity, intuition, and compassion. It allows for a harmonious blend of action and intuition, enabling individuals to tap into their inner guidance and pursue their ambitions with a sense of purpose and vision. This transit may also enhance intuition and psychic abilities, making it easier to trust one's instincts and navigate the unseen realms of consciousness, which so perfectly sets up Mars' entrance into Aquarius and conjunction to Pluto taking place on the 13th. The conjunction of Mars and Pluto intensifies the drive and ambition of Mars, infusing it with the potent transformative energy of Pluto. This combination can result in a strong desire to make profound changes in one's life or in society as a whole. Individuals may feel compelled to assert themselves more forcefully, to confront power dynamics, and to change established structures and systems that they perceive as oppressive or limiting. At the same time, the Mars-Pluto conjunction can bring to the surface deep-seated emotions, fears, and desires that have been buried or repressed. This can lead to confrontations, power struggles, and even explosive outbursts, if not channeled constructively. However, it also offers opportunity for catharsis and release, allowing individuals to purge themselves of emotional baggage and old patterns that no longer serve them. Mars's energy is also associated with personal power and the solar plexus chakra. It is the masculine expression of emotional energy, whereas Venus is the feminine expression of emotional energy, and the moon, which will be the last of the series of personal planets to meet Pluto at the gates of Aquarius, which will take place on the 16th of the month. The conjunction of Venus and Pluto intensifies the depth of emotions and desires in relationships. It can bring to the surface deep-seated issues, power dynamics, and hidden desires that have been lurking beneath the surface. This can lead to intense and transformative experiences in love, values, and relationships as individuals confront their fears, vulnerabilities, and shadows. This conjunction in Aquarius can facilitate a profound emotional healing and transformation within that can bring a revolutionary approach to self-care that ultimately extends a new level of care for the collective. It can help individuals to break free from unhealthy patterns and to cultivate greater intimacy, authenticity, and connection in their relationships. It can also empower individuals to embrace their own inner power and worthiness, leading to more fulfilling and empowering ways to love and live for the healing of humanity. I want to end with a downloaded message I received over the weekend and personal revelations that I can now see its purpose as it fits genuinely into this collective story. You must realize how much power you have as an individual and how much of your power you give to others or withhold from yourself. I can see many reasons why we do this, as I too feel I've experienced all sides of it at varying degrees. But the fact is, it doesn't work. Our current ways of being are not working, and it's becoming more and more obviously true and ludicrous to deny. Let's start with the greater forces that we as individuals cannot be held accountable for, and that is societal conditioning. We were taught that the polite thing to do is the correct way to behave. And in a large part, that is true. But at some point, that began to override our own sense of well-being. The I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine mentality began to be a continually unspoken agreement that led us into having unrealistic expectations for both ourselves and others, which in turn has left us feeling both overwhelmed and guilty. This is the case whether consciously or unconsciously. By partaking in this mentality, it literally sets us up to fail. When we think of this in terms of our personal relationships, we can see that it creates codependency and reliance on others to get our needs met. It creates a scenario or a dynamic where there has to be a giver and a taker, often pressured by moral obligation to be the giver and shame and defeat to be the taker. To me, this could not be more clearly a lose-lose bargain. I'm not saying it's impossible to find a balance and have a fluidity where the roles shift back and forth, but that's an ideal truth. It's far more likely for this kind of dynamic to become a trap. It initiates a karmic debt on both ends. We cannot be all things for everyone, and it's ridiculous to think that's what's expected of us. Yet it is. Where we can really see the capped potential of this dynamic is when we understand that we need to have resources to even partake in this kind of bargain. But too many of us are already working off of borrowed resources, not enough time, money, or energy to go around. I sensed this potential danger from a very young age, and it's caused me a lot of grief over the years. I felt like I was bait in some kind of feeding frenzy for the world. I limited my available offerings as much as I possibly could to not seem rude or incapable, and I directed my energy into only a small amount of personal relationships. I now understand why this was instinct for me and correct for me to do, but at times I felt like I was backing myself into a corner. Because it's true, a lot of the time, it's not what you know, but who you know that prompts your breakthroughs in life. But I just could not, in good conscience, commit to that way of being. However subconscious, I've always held a high level of self-awareness as to the way my energy operates is different from most. And that way of being, for me, is really not sustainable. Now, there is so much of this message that can be tied into my astrology and human design, but I'm not going to go there in this video. But I truly cannot express enough how helpful it was to learn about energy from that perspective, because it put into words everything I felt true about myself that I could not have otherwise been able to explain. The best way I can explain it without using that language is to say, I have very intense, powerful energy that is only operable with an on-off switch. I don't have the ability to dilute the intensity to sustain it for longer periods of time, or delegate it into managing multiple things at once. It doesn't work like that for me, no matter how hard I try. Trust me. I've suffered tremendously trying to, as well as unintentionally caused harm for others by attempting to be someone I am not. It was a hard lesson to learn. But I think I'm past it now, so take it from me if you can. Anyway, the point for mentioning it is because I believe my unique perspective makes these relationship dynamics felt at a much greater intensity and a higher potential risk for more extreme personal consequence. However shitty that may be for me, the positive to it is that because of my unique perspective, I can offer insights into the realities of this kind of energy exchange that otherwise could be more easily overlooked. So let's get back to it. When you look at it on a more institutional basis, the fog becomes much denser to see through. But really, common sense is all it's needed for reality to be seen. But see, we have been sold into an idealized system that was destined to fail. We as a collective have invested our energy and resources into a projected reality that is merely a false illusion. It's an idealized vision that maybe started with great intentions and mutual understanding, but became something unsustainable over time. The kink in the chain that diverted the situation from bad to worse was that the people at the top that were in charge of managing this vision began to recognize it was not sustainable. Yet, in that moment, the decision to stay course felt like the only choice, a necessary means for the option of a better alternative to come about in the future. A shift began to happen that created one large pyramid scheme that only those at the top were aware of its inflated value and required them to sell a faulty bill of goods that trickled down to the ill-informed masses. Standards were created off the foundation of something made of air. Smaller corporations were forced into this kind of pyramid scheme, likely unaware of the gravity that they were signing up for, but not that it even mattered when it was the only option available to even get into the game. Whether or not they were consciously aware of the parameters, there wasn't really a choice in the matter. So why worry about it, right? The ones that had more of a conscience convinced themselves that they were the problem. After all, it seemed like it was working for everyone else, so it must be possible, right? Wrong. It wasn't working for anyone. Yet everyone was acting from that same false pretense. There seems to be this big war happening between dark and light, right and wrong, good or bad. But do you know where defenses drop? Where compassion lies? It's always present at the root of the matter. You must travel back to the intention. When you take time to dig into the intentions behind everything, almost always it starts out good. It began with a helpful and honest mission. Somewhere along the way, it went awry. Fault for why doesn't matter. Knowing how it happened can be helpful to arm from happening again in the future, but it doesn't affect the situation at the present. So what's the answer? How do we move forward? Well, unfortunately, our nervous systems on the collective level are so traumatized from neglecting our internal guidance system for so long. We have been taught we must ignore our personal sense for the greater good. It's difficult to comprehend this, but whether or not you were consciously aware of what was happening, deep down, you knew. But you convinced yourself that it was necessary for your survival to obtain the facade and go along with the crowd. It's now unrealistic to expect ourselves to be able to trust anyone but ourselves. The only way to heal is to empower yourself. You must understand what is truly valuable for your emotional well-being, not what you've been conditioned to need or desire. You must armor yourself with the knowledge and skills necessary to focus on only that. You have to take care of yourself now. It is the only sustainable thing for us to do is manage ourselves as individuals. And the more people that take on that responsibility, the lighter the load at the collective level. You must help yourself in order to be of greater service. The biggest obstacle we face will be those that choose to live in denial or pity themselves as they adhere to the victim mentality. They aren't wrong to feel this. It's true. We are all victims despite the degree of damage. But again, that won't change the current reality. But do you know what will? When you take your power back and commit to that responsibility and release the outdated mentality and guard yourself from the projections from others, you are literally becoming a light worker. You are lightening the collective load and causing ripples that compound at a massive scale, beyond what any of us as individuals can fathom. Stop needing things that only others can provide. I know that sounds harsh, but you were built like you were for a reason. You have something to offer because of it. So stop trying to offer something you can't give. Stop trying to be someone you're not. And stop limiting yourself by relying on others to do it for you. Use your energy to make the most of what you have, instead of giving away what you have to others and being left unfulfilled anyway. I'm still trying to figure this one out myself. But what I do know is, when I take on that challenge, it's obvious that way of living is going to take all that I have to do it. So it makes sense why the energy is urging us to pay more attention to ourselves, to embrace our individuality, and to invest in our own personal growth. So as we approach 2027, we're in for a cosmic spectacle. This is a pivotal moment, a celestial gateway that propels us further into the energies of the Aquarian age, a time of collective evolution and consciousness expansion. So dear souls, embrace the transformative energies of this new moon. Treat yourself with love and care, and get ready for the incredible journey ahead. If you enjoyed this cosmic exploration, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And until next time, may this knowledge guide you on your path of awakening. And in the process, don't forget, shine bright, star siblings.